This meeting is being recorded.
So it's Saturday, the 30th of July, and it's 9:12 a.m. in Greece, 7:12 a.m. in the UK, and it's 6:12 p.m. in New Zealand. And this is the Confederation of United Tribes of New Zealand jurisdiction, King's Bench hearing. Over to you then, John.
Okay, thanks for everybody watching, and others in Britain especially. There are partners in this Confederation of Chiefs Court direct to Britain. And so we have a few people there always intent on listening to how we do things here. First of all, I just want to invite all those here tonight on the video. We can have a discussion afterwards, but I want to do the court hearing first, and then Alfred will come on afterwards to lock the video in the court hearings separate from any discussions because it's going on the record. What I say at the moment goes as far as the court has proceeded right up till now, from one court hearing to another. I think we've done about 10 now court hearings, and something should come out of it before long. I see a bit more interest in what we do now. It belongs to everybody, and so we're trying to bring the communities together and to address the main threat issue of the government and what they're doing to us here and forcing us with their own laws. And we have our own set of laws after the Pope said we're on our own, the government's on their own, the corporations are on their own, so we can decide which law he says that's adequate for our use. So that's the main theme of our law and administering it with the sheriffs. And I've got a lot of information there to absorb, so I'm trying to get through it as much as I can, and not going to read everything, just highlight some of the red issues. The red ink issues are most important as citations or decrees. Anything that has bold letters is more or less in order of a decree against this government and their illegal application of law when they have no queen on the throne for a start. And so they have no sovereignty, because the Pope has the sovereignty of our value as security, and not the government here. They don't have any title to the land. We have the title to the land, the overall British title at 1823 with King George. So that locks the land title with the birth certificate title of sovereignty of the sovereign of all the world. So that's why this flag is going around the whole world, where the government here has given it to the Queen, and the Queen has taken it through the United Nations, and it's gone from the United Nations and spread its business right through the world, when we are the still beneficiaries of the trust, the Queen's trust as one trust, and the Pope's trust, the birth certificate. So you've got land trust of prized possessions of the King and the Queen, right here in New Zealand, and the Queen right of Britain, UK, two sets of Queen crowns. And this one in New Zealand is a pretend crown, and they are operating a private business corporation and only thinking about their own self-interest, not the interest of the people. And there's enough evidence of that going around already with claims and also with loss, harm, injury, and all sorts that are starting to happen now in courts. So without further ado, I shall just start off some house rules. Everything I say belongs to the Hapu Sovereign Confederation of Chiefs authority from Te Tii Marae, has always been under the Confederation there to the Waitangi Marae treaty grounds which is what our authority is, with the flag, the 1834 founding flag of New Zealand at Kororareka for a start in 1834, and in 1835 the Declaration itself, 1835, straight to Britain, Westminster Parliament, and King William IV private contract is still there in a corporate business. We are still in that partnership with the flag flying opposite the British flag as proof since 1835 on that, or 1834 Kororareka and Russell, when the flag flew on the flag mast, the British ship mast there. So that locks our authority to what we do in this court online as if it was a marae in real with the chiefs, and they have all the chance in the world to come on and talk, but they don't need to. They left me the task as president of the original Confederation of Chiefs of Araroa, Helensville, Native Magistrate Court Bank, under the Rogan Manukau authority, which I succeeded from Mohi Manukau and his Freemasons that put all the land titles together, the certificates of title, mortgage instruments in that court, the first Native Magistrate Court Bank in New Zealand before it became the Bank of New Zealand, Queen Street, then the League of Nations, and then the United Nations, and then the World Bank. That's our interest there, right there, that we are going after in all of these court hearings that we put together as equity in all that has been derived by the Admiralty, our partner, Michael Boyce, Admiral of the Fleet in Britain, as Lord Baron Boyce, in the Lord Parliament. At the moment, he is our legal, lawful, legitimate partner in this business of corporations under King William IV flag. So that's that. First of all, I just want to make sure that we don't mix the Maori iwi with the King's Bench Court, because that comes under the jurisdiction of Queen Elizabeth and Queen Victoria in the government in Wellington contract. So keep the contracts separate. Our contract is not mixed with the Australian Queen Victoria connection by using this flag. The flag is straight to Westminster jurisdiction of this Navy, and the documents that we get our authority from to put things together. So I don't want to mix those two jurisdictions up in any conversation we have while we're on record, because the British Crown is watching what we do here, and there's enough evidence of that why we're still going and have nothing gone wrong yet. So we must be doing something right, and it means that everybody in New Zealand has to claim what I say. All these documents that go online, you have to claim them under this flag if you want to use this flag as a corporate business, because that's what it is. It is a corporate business flag and nothing else. It's supposed to be for ships, and now it's for aircraft, submarines, or anywhere on the land or on the sea without a bar and a dock. So we do not need a bar like the ordinary courts and a dock to put someone in to try. We can try them straight online, which is what's happening with the prisoners in courts now. They just have video link to the courts. We are doing video link here the same way. We're using the same authority as the Crown in Britain and America, using video link as our authority to do our business online in these Zoom hearings. The affidavit, the video is an affidavit of truth, God's truth law, LORE, and man's law, King's law, King William IV law from and King William III laws from 1689, King William III to King William IV, 1837, all the way through there is on these documents. We can choose any act according to Pope Francis. We choose any act adequate to our needs to combat organized crime. And we have organized crime we are alleging in the New Zealand Parliament and Government Wellington with Jacinda Ardern. I make that statement right to you that they are a criminal outfit that's running their business for themselves and not for the people of New Zealand's interests and safety. They are not worrying about your safety. They're immune from safety, from a liability under their law in Wellington, but not under Pope Francis' law. They are not immune. They are liable. We can try them and lock them up, as you see in those motu proprio counts. I split out the motu proprio letter into counts. So that's normal law practice to split out into identified citations and decrees. Those are decree orders that we enforce against Jacinda Ardern, the person in the flesh and blood woman, and her politicians, lawyers, judges, and public servants. Everybody the Pope says is now liable and not immune from prosecution in this court. I'll make that quite clear to everybody watching this video, including the British establishment and the government of New Zealand, Parliament, Cindy Kiro, Governor General, on notice as well with this video, and the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, WEF, World Economic Forum, World Health Organization, and New World Order to take over our country, threat against us, the sovereign people of the land, and Pope holding our sovereignty value until we seize that back as well, because he's in the fraud too. So we're alleging that as well. So here we go. The summary here is the seals of the court jurisdiction that we have, 12 seals on the top of the documents, and the 4 besides the top second page. You can see those other seals there as well. Mainly, it's the Moai Crown Seal that Queen Victoria, that's the Moai standing in London. She used that for her documents over the whole world as her title. So we take that back as theft of prized possessions and taonga or cultural heritage memorial to the people of Rapa Nui, East Island, where we come from as Tahitian. So the seals against the government seal in Wellington, and they have only one seal to go on and one flag. The 1902 flag versus a federal flag, federal government flag, the flag we have, a jurisdiction flag, and a constitution flag, 1835, wrapped up against their statute acts and laws that are not law and are not working, and they're putting in their inconsistencies, amendment, declaration bill to try and hide all their inconsistency acts of Parliament so that they can get away with them. We've caught them out and stick these laws of the King, God, and the Pope right on top of them tonight, and every other court hearing we've had so far. The legal authority from England, that's where we get our authority from, Britain, UK, as a private prosecutor myself, acting in this court, and Alfred, a judge and Attorney General, and other titles he has in the Confederation of Chiefs, the original Confederation of Chiefs from Helensville, with the Freemasons and their titles to start the title, land titles and mortgages and bank loans and everything in Helensville. So there, we link our authority straight back to that magistrate court, straight to England's court, magistrate court there in Edinburgh, where our titles to this whole country is with Te Ra Waikato, Wharehere Manukau, from down in the Waikato region. That's where the Waikato name comes from. And King George IV, 1823. So there, locks the title away from Jacinda Ardern, and they have no papers of title. They borrowed it off the hapu, the iwi trustees, and the Maori iwi trustees, that the hapu has a job now to wrench back their titles from them and morph out of the way and get on with our business. So we have page 4, page 3. Hang on, I'll just go back to another page I had before that.
You just let me know where you want, where what page be on right now, John. I mean, because we haven't.
Well, we're just starting. We're just starting from page 2 now, 3 2 now. Authority now 3 now.
Yeah.
3.
So-
just roll to page 3.
Yeah. So I can keep up with you. So I'm on page 3.
Page 3. Yeah. So on page 3, page 3, page 5, in here, page 6. So here, this is a commercial contract business for the world, and the King's common law people shall enforce these native land. Oh, we've gone too fast. I can't see it. I missed it now. Just there. Just hold it here. Commercial contract. It's a business we're running on this court. That's what the normal courts are. Businesses in their court. We're doing exactly the same as the government and the courts making business in their courts. Commercial contract business for the world. This is for the world, not only New Zealand. And the King's common law people shall enforce these native land acts. The court allows exhibits of Facebook pictures, live Zoom videos, and API voice to text recorded minutes as clear, true affidavit, substantive, unrebutted evidence in this live online Zoom hearing witness as exclusive judgment debtors instruments for all native King's Bench magistrate courts created for 250 countries natives to enforce now on you, Jacinda Ardern, declare martial law on your crown agents. Pope Francis said, you're on your own liable for crimes you're caught in now. So that's Saturday, 30th of July, 2022, 6 p.m. tonight, and with Andy Devine. So I won't read a lot of this. I just want to go through it. And it's just that all this, there's a lot of reading. So I didn't want to spend a lot of time reading, but it just meant at the end, I might as well read. I'll go right to the end, Andy, and I'll read the decree, and then we can go on from this page here. Go right to the end. I'll read the decree out on Jacinda Ardern, and then we can carry on so that we can put that right in the front. Open the court up tonight for business. And it's slow going down, is it? I just want to go to that. Yeah. Okay, you've got it now. So let's read the decree for the sheriffs and action they take to arrest these criminal organizers, Parliament and court out. We've had enough court hearings on her and her government already. Now we just go up a bit, and then I'll read. This is the main bit I want to read out of the whole lot. Decree to Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern and her New Zealand Parliament Government Corporations. I am John Oni Wanoa, President of the original Confederation of Chiefs, Araroa, Helensville, Araroa Native Magistrate Court Bank Legal Authority, where we get our authority from, as a native land assessor and investigator of titles over New Zealand country under the laws of Britain, UK, as surrogate King William III, King George III, King George IV, King William IV, King Ernest Augustus I, and his successor, King Ernest Augustus V of England, alive in flesh and blood today. My oath of office and authority comes from these 5 Emperor Kings and the only King's Sovereign Federal Republic First Nations founding flag of New Zealand, jurisdiction, a whole as Lord High Admiral. That's the same as President Biden is claiming the same title. So I claim the same high title as well in this decree. title holder over this native King's Bench Magistrate Court and Jury Court Sheriffs in session on this Hapu Sovereign Marae Zoom hearing, direct to Westminster Parliament and our legal commercial contract business partner, Admiral of the Fleet, Michael Boyce, Lord Baron Boyce, House of Lords, Admiral jurisdiction to the greater global world British powers. That's our authority from this court and the Confederation of Chiefs, the originals, and we go from there and build up our team of force from there. We, the Confederation of Chiefs successors, are here to re-establish the King's Common Law and King's Acts of Westminster from 1689, King William III, to 1837, King William IV, period of time in force today, Saturday, 30th of July, 2022, continuation of unbroken sovereignty to Britain, direct line of live commercial trade business, pound note, gold, coins, money, currency, startup from King Tawhio pound note as debtor instruments against a criminal organisation operating illegal private business dealings within Parliament now. Pope Francis has issued motu proprio orders for the Confederation of Chiefs Court to prosecute you, Jacinda Ardern, as direct threats on our sovereign people's families and lives, causing harm, loss, and injuries through lethal injections with no responsibility or care about the consequences. So Pope Francis advised us, the Confederation executives, to choose adequate legal instruments to combat organized crime, as we allege you are committing daily without regard for the King's laws or this land and motu proprio, the native court of the world sovereign people, enforced on you already. Now call on for your arrest, Jacinda Ardern, for leading the WEF, World Economic Forum, NATO, UN, EU, WHO, cabal, American assault on the sovereign nations, people of the world, on their sovereign lands. They want you shut down and liquidated of your fraud, corrupted business immediately, with court orders for you and your living corporations, crown agents, immediate arrest and locked up for life for genocide, treason, bank war, massacre on lives, criminal organization. We caught you making your own laws to get out of your Declaration of Inconsistencies Amendment laws. We forbid you carrying out in this decree with the sovereign people of New Zealand and the 250 countries in the world, forbids you from forced jab injections from today onwards, and we prosecuted every Crown agent, Great Britain pound, £1 trillion equivalent to Moai pound notes or higher value against your living body, name, photograph evidence. The sheriffs and Moai Crown British federal government executives makes this decree today to serve, protect, unite the people of New Zealand, Britain, your partner, our partners, and the world at large under the King's laws, Pope's laws, God's law of truth affidavits, and Sheriff's Law of Ireland, 1835, King William IV, made public on the website moaipowerhouse.world, and Zoom video affidavits, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and word of mouth. It is by this decree, notice to the principal is notice to the agent, and notice to the agent is notice to the principal, whereby you, Jacinda Ardern, and your government are Crown agents, and my Crown, King William IV, Sovereign King, is the Crown principal, and you are the Crown agent, Vice Admiral Jacinda Ardern, and corporations, pirates on the high seas, guilty as charged. Our Hapu organization is legally entrenched in our King William IV flag jurisdiction and constitution. Prepare for your imminent arrest and liquidation, forfeiture of your property, assets. Bang. John Hoani Kaaki Wanoa and the Confederation of Chiefs Executive Business Creditors Assignees. So that's what I really wanted to say tonight in this court hearing, was to put notice on Jacinda Ardern that her days are numbered as far as the people are concerned of the amount of damage going on. So then we can go back to page 3, to page 3, page 396. It's got a page 96 on page 3. It's got a page 96. There's plenty of information here. We apply all of what these red things are, document writings are, and a lot of the writing is already the court's writings that I've gone right in the middle of and split it up and put citations in the middle of it. Where we are at now? What's this page?
Page 3, John.
So you can see the charges against Jacinda Ardern and her government is forever going on in a mountain of offences against us, and no one's been able to do anything about it until now. We have lots of instruments, legal instruments in here that you can read through and pick out and get familiar with until we get to use it in real. So the idea here was to liquidate property, land, and people as instruments of money in the pound note levy debtor or lien debtor instrument to make cash out of them in the court. So that's what the court's there for, is to liquidate property with orders, our own court orders. So go past, Andy, what's that? Oh, that's page 3. I just want to just go past, hang on, in this, I better read this a little bit here. No, hang on. After in this, I'll just read this little bit. Notices to you. I've said it before, Andy. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern accused you of your continuous offences after Pope Francis warned you in September 2013, the 1st of September, that you and your preceding governments were given 3 years to clean up your corrupt fraud business. You made no attempt to adhere to Pope Francis' orders and continue to break his highest corporations and trust laws, that all corporations are now liable, the same charges as you committed as complicit in leading your WEF fraud government of New Zealand right through the country. List at the end of the documents of 90 counts of motu proprio enforced on you, with the debt amount of charges against you, Jacinda Kate Laurel Ardern, natural name 1 million trillion Great British pound notes, Maya pound notes, forfeiture of all you possess in property, bank accounts, business, land, investments, seized value balanced by your New Zealand, UK Crown assets as judge and prosecutor and surrogate king sovereign. So I'm saying the figures are immaterial. It's just the figure we can go up to, anywhere between, to take the wealth back off the Crown itself. So the more we get against the Crown, the better it is for our own court bank. That's what we are operating, a native court bank in this business. So we carry on down. What's this? Well, we can just go past here. Just stop there. So we're declaring a war act of man-made pandemic. That's what she's promoting, a pandemic that's man-made, and everybody is starting to wake up to that fact now. So keep going. We should have been on page 10. So these are just more things of Jacinda, all those treason and everything else to go with it. So all of these citations are included in the decree tonight. I read at the end there. Anything that's in red writing and anything in bold is any charge we can put up against her, anywhere between. So this is just go up a bit. So we're on to this epidemic. What other extraordinary powers to respond to pandemic are set out in the 70 of the Health Act and require procedures for their activation. So here we're citing what they're doing with the Health Act and to use COVID as their excuse for martial law. So we're splitting it up like this and putting them on notice to stop what they're doing. That's what we're virtually saying. Stop what you're doing, because it's not going to work in our benefit and our health concerns. So keep going. How should laws be written? Now keep going. Keep going down. We're on page 10 only. Page 14. Page 14. We just didn't want to be staying in a bubble under their control. We don't want to be in bubbles anymore. Just 14, government of the United Kingdom explains the use of, there, just stop there, fusion of criminal law and public of emergency governance established by Parliament, Hickman 2020, page 3. The value of the rules therefore depends on the broader practice of legality, whether it's legal, involving other officials and lawyers, which is committed to applying the rules, they're breaking rules, rather than exploiting the normative ambiguous between rules and guidance, health advice in the coronavirus guidance as sole generous form of regulatory intervention that sits outside the regime. So they're breaking laws, that's what I'm saying here. And we're stopping them from breaking any more laws or changing them when they have broken them already. This is one more that I'll quote a little bit of it. The Prime Minister imperative language raises a key concern about the public power that is amplified in times of crisis. She's just blaring out all this misinformation about the jab is safe when it's not safe. It's proven enough times that it's not safe, and we forbid it. As a Confederation of Chiefs, we forbid any more injections in this country, period. Cite this as a threat over subjects, meaning you, the living man, woman, child, as a threat against your body and your life and your land. So there, we can carry on past here. So those there, you can cite any of these in as one affidavit, the whole lot. The whole lot, what equals 196 pages here equals one affidavit. So I've put back, we've gone over this before, Andy, all this citations and stuff. I just wanted to what's this? This as Hapu sovereign something. Never mind. Go on, carry on. Carry on down. What? Well, oh, it's gone past. Never mind. Now carry on. I'll just catch what I can on the way through, because we'll get through to the sheriff's bit. I want to get to the sheriff's bit. We should be on page 17.
That's 17. This is 17.
We'll try and, that's 17 there.
Yeah.
Intense disruption, important, able to adhere to the principle of legality. See, it's not legal. What they're doing is not legal. It's just statute, which is not really law, and they're breaking the real law of what we say is real law. And so we're writing the law ourselves. We're making our own law from laws that are already there, predating the time that they were here. They only can go to 1840 here, the government. They can't go back like us anywhere way back. They can't, although they quote from other acts before. Coercive force of parliament law, not court institutional law. They're not listening to law institutions. They're doing these laws themselves in parliament as incompetent. They don't have experience as doctors or somebody in their position. And you can see Farfoy, the Minister of Immigration and Justice Minister, gone now, gone into the wind. And other ministers are taking off. We're going after them. We're going after those. Every politician, right back past Helen Clark, right back John Key, the whole of, we're going with £1 trillion on each of their heads against the Queen's Crown, corporations, trust, and Pope Francis birth certificate trust on their name, £1 trillion each. You can only charge one person at a time, and I haven't seen anybody get anything major out of them from these courts. You can't get what you want out of those courts. So we have authority now to get it out of our court. So here, Hungary, listen to this. Hungary, where rules passed have effectively authorized rule by decree. Therefore, all these laws, we're following Hungary as decrees of law, rules of law in all these documents and everything written in red that we're pulling out of what they're writing and citing it, like this one. The argument of another minister written recommendations to the Governor General of Health is required before the epidemic notice can be issued. Some of them are not experienced at the job they've got, and they just guess it. We cite all these things, all those which cite decrees. I'm pulling the law out and throwing it back in their face. So everything with that cite beside it is a decree, and including the capital letters. All of these ones here, like this, cite these. All these letters are right in capitals. Are decrees. We're telling them what they're doing, and charging them for doing that. All that we can skip through. We can go to page 17. We'll try and get through it now.
On page 20 now, John. See the bottom page.
Human rights. They're breaking all the Human Rights Act. The Declaration of Inconsistency Amendment Bill is going to get rid of your human rights and Bill of Rights outright. You won't be able to go in it when they pass the last reading. They got one more reading, and we're trying to block them off before they get there with these citations and decrees. That's what a sheriff's job is. Enforce. You'll see later. You'll read the sheriff's court orders, the powers of a sheriff. When we come up, that's where I wanted to spend a bit of time, Andy. So I think we'll skip past page 19. We'll go on to page 20. We'll try and scoot through a bit faster.
We're on 22, John.
Yeah, 22. Just go back to 20.
Go back to 20.
I just want to see. No, just carry on. Carry on to 29. I marked all these pages out so I could read them. If I had my computer going, I would read them, and he would have followed me reading them. But it might take too long. It'll take too long to read everything. I just wanted to make note of it, and it's just part of the whole exercise of this court, of its jurisdiction and its power to enforce and make laws for ourselves.
Good.
So what page are you on now?
It's not loading 28 or it's
We'll just keep scrolling. Just keep scrolling through.
That's okay.
Because
28.
page 29, 30, 32, 35 were
Well,
just some of the.
We're on 29. There's only 28 that wouldn't load up.
28.
We're on 29. Is that what you wanted?
29, yeah. Pandemic made virus to exterminate the populations by collision bribery. That's what their intention is to cull out the populations. They don't care. So that's epidemic notice and orders information of epidemic. So it's all epidemic. Notice to the principal, it's notice to the agent. The agent is notice to the principal, Pope Francis and Surrogate King John Wanoa, President of the Confederation of Chiefs, and our contract partner, British Navy Admiral of the Fleet, Michael Boyce, Westminster Parliament, Crown, King William IV flags, sovereign authority, jurisdiction over New Zealand, sovereign government, Crown of New Zealand, lawless, incompetent, liable, name, photograph, politicians, and these COVID, CV, ID, contracted officers, police, military, pandemic scam, conspiracy pirates acting in their own corporate business, financial investment interest banks. So I'm just saying all these people, including doctors that are following Jacinda Ardern, are liable with £1 trillion on the head bounty from this court, and and police, or everyone that's helping this government here in New Zealand. I'm talking about New Zealand at the moment because this is directed to the Prime Minister and all those who are helping, even the iwi Maori trustees, even those maraes that are coercing the hapu, all the tribes to get jabbed, is helping Jacinda to kill people and murder them. That's what I'm saying on this video, to make it quite plain, is that that's our decree, to stop the murders and genocide on people here and the world, and using us as guinea pigs here in New Zealand. That's what it is. It's a threat on our lives, our land, and our own way of living. We want to be left alone to our own devices and make our own law today from now on. Okay, keep going.
Right,
We first pass enforcement.
Does that
But keep going.
back on again there? So what page 29 say?
So keep going. I've just, it's supposed to be on 32 now, 30 or 32.
That was 30.
That's 30. I'm just saying the Smith report. This is just here we go. Threats by Jacinda doing public statements against Pope's living sovereigns. Okay, treason. That's what we're having a help for. So carry on. We don't have to read any of that. It's there for public to read. And any amount of this is, we're saying, is the truth. Affidavit on this video. Everything that's written here is their own words split out into citations. So Maori's in there too as well. They're implicated in their Maori iwi crown trust business. So there, we carry on through that. We should be going on to page 37.
That's
Page
37.
37.
This is
Is that 37? Smith. There's Smith there. With Smith. Smith and his contemporaries were embroiled in discussions surrounding one such rule, Article 48, Constitution of Westminster, or Article 48 authorizes the president to take extensive emergency matters. So all of this is this professor's account for government, giving government directions not to break laws and to follow what he says. And they're not listening to him. They're just going ahead without all this. I'm citing this as information we use against the government, of what this professor is warning the government that they're running into troubled areas and will end up costing the taxpayer more money in court to fight them and their stupid laws that they're passing now, and using that for their World Economic Forum business right around the world from here in New Zealand. So making their guinea pig model here. And we're stopping them from doing that in this court. So carry on. So this one here, Hungary, you see again, it's rule by decree. Carry on. Rule by decree. Those are quotes from those people who say this. So we've got factual information, proclamations, carry on. Carry on. We'll skip through page 44, we went to page 51, 52, 53, 54. We'll just glide over them. We'll just glide straight past them because I had a lot to say on them. Epidemic, it's all still epidemic and everything. It's still charging her for all these illegal things. So there, enough on her head. I'll send this off to her on Monday, and this will be the first time I've sent her anything because they don't answer. I get a automatic reply from her, which acknowledges that she received it. So that's all we can do. We'll just roll past here. Just take note of what I'm writing. Just go back a bit. Just go back a bit to the red bit. What did I say there? Cite this. Stop there. Cite this. Proceedings, the place of writs. See, they're replacing writs for proceedings. They're changing all the legal things. Writs that our court uses writs against them is more powerful than proceedings. Cite this Pope immunity. They're not immune from liability. Was the Pope? I stick these things most appropriate here. Sheriff, powers of sheriff. Cite this. So you can go to the site at the end of this log. There's a thread to go straight to the sheriff's powers of sheriffs and click on it, and you see what powers the sheriff has of this court. So there, those are sheriffs cite this, and so that's for the sheriffs to read and to go and research out for themselves. I've been through it all, but I don't want to talk about it because that's up to them now. Jurisdiction, the court has jurisdiction. We have jurisdiction of this court, and to Britain, Constitution, we have that. We covered that, and we're going up against their constitution and jurisdiction of these courts with ours as superior heads of court. Keep going. So these are judges and the courts, and where they get their authority from, and they have no queen on the throne. They have nothing to go on, no land title, and so they're running the government that the people voted to put there, and they go the other way. So there, carry on going. Jurisdiction of the court. What's this say? I'll carry on going. Seals of the seals at the top. Carry on. Look how they talk. Stop there. Go back a bit. Back a bit more. Yeah, this one. The court, listen how they talk. The court may grant the remedy of relief or do the thing. What the hell does that mean? By way of a judgment or an order in accordance with this act and the High Court rules, or do the thing. I've never heard such utter stupidity in writing law as something, a thing. So this is the language of their court. Thing, a thing. So that's stupid. Every associated judge, I'll carry on going. They're not immune from conviction. We're saying they're liable because we say the Pope said so. That's where we get that authority from. Powers of the sheriff, that's for the sheriff to look through. Powers to enforce an order of the High Court. We are like the High Court, and we are equal or better than the High Court because we have king's laws and flag. So there, they don't have a king's flag. We do. We're the only one in the world with a king's flag that can do this job. Any powers conferred in the enactment of the High Court rules. So there, we're acting sheriff, not to act as a lawyer or agent. Well, that's understandable. The sheriff is doing a court's job to recover the debts. It says that in it. Persons arrested by sheriffs may be committed to prison at once. Cite this. They can take them straight, Jacinda Ardern, straight to prison on this one. Pull that, use that act there, and multi propria to take her straight into court with just that one there on its own for committing fraud, and she can't prove it. She can't prove. They make themselves immune, no more, not in this court. The sheriff's officer, bailiff, or other persons employed to assist the sheriff who arrests any person under or by virtue of any writ. That's why they took that word writ out and put proceedings, so that it's watered down version of a writ. A writ is real extreme. They can take everything of you, every single thing of you, or do anything to you, or process that authorizes the committal of arrested person without delay, take steps to have the arrested person taken to a prison and committed there. We can throw her straight into prison and commit her by video link into this court anywhere in the world. Could be in a paddock or anywhere. It doesn't matter. We don't need a bar and a dock to put her in. We can charge her anywhere she sits with a mobile phone and watching this. I sent a password to her to come and see if she will come on. I don't think so. So carry on. So this is sheriff's territory. Supreme Court may have a seal. Carry on. We're putting up all these seals against the Supreme Court and the High Court here. And the judge will run out the back when he sees all this lot coming to him. There's no legitimate queen on the throne as at 30th of July 2022. There's nothing. They got nothing. Citation of Francis. Okay, we see enough of Pope. Military force acting. We carry on. Just stop there. Overriding any anything that could be issued by the United Nations. We can go to the United Nations, where Jacinda Ardern's going with the motu proprio. The Inner and Middle Temple, we can go against them. The Crown and Great Britain, we can go them. That's what we're doing in this court. Or any other monarch, the Queen, monarch, and indeed by any head of state, we can go up against any state with this court or body politic. If you are a member of the United Nations or recognized by the United States or United Kingdom or anyone holding an office anywhere in the world, also subject to this, that immunity no longer applies. Thirdly, we see the Holy See and the Universal Church until they are torn from the power by anyone. That we're anyone. We're the anyone means the Pope is talking about. Anybody who cares for the law. We care for the law. We got the law right here. Their law, the British law. The Holy See and the Pope's law is the underpinning and God's law, truth, to the whole affidavit. Global system of law. That word global, global Britain is the new company that Boris Johnson is putting together now. Global Britain. That's a new one. System of law. Therefore, I'm watching him. Therefore, anyone holding an office anywhere in the world is also subject to these limits, and that immunity no longer applies. There we go. That fixes that lot. In our times, the common good is increasingly threatened, the word threatened, by transitional organized crime. That's Jacinda Ardern, her government, the WEF, and all the rest of those people trying to take the world over. The improper use of markets, and that's what the crypto and all this other fiat money scam, and the economy, as well as by terrorism. That's a form of terrorism of what Jacinda is doing to our people, and forcing them, coercing them to take something they don't want for their jobs. That they take it because their job is at stake. So they threaten the jobs. They made you lose your homes, mortgages, and security, families, split the families, and all that sort of thing. Took your kids away. All that comes into this lot. We want them shut down from this court. Carry on. Government resigns, then reappoints itself. Page 58. Shall apply to courts. That was the other one, appointing themselves, dismissing themselves from court, and applying to start the government up again. A new government. They got rid of the old government and started up a new government. Carry on. Rules of equity, common law. Well, if there is a conflict of variance between the rules of equity, which is money, the rules of common law, which is no money, in relation to the same matter, the rules of equity, money, prevails. So that's what that one means. Sheriffs, registers, and officers of the High Court. So carry on. We've got enough of sheriffs' information for them to pick up fast. They need to pick all these things up with where it says sheriff fast and read it, and then we'll be right. I see there's some other sheriffs acting with our flag and going through Australia. That's a no-no, as far as I'm concerned, because they're going under the jurisdiction of Queen Victoria at 1887 Sheriff's Act. And so we're going to 1835, King William IV Act of Ireland. That's way past that in the King's territory contract, not the Queen's contract. So don't get mixed up with the flag on the wrong side, because that flag belongs to Northern tribes and Hauraki. And it has trademark and protection built into it. It's an offence to use that flag for any other reason other than what it was given by the King to 13 chiefs. Letter is a contract. A letter by the King is a contract, first contact, and that's what I'm going on. The first contact with King William IV. There, we're going from that jurisdiction of power over anybody else flying that flag for other reasons, even though it was against the COVID and all that sort of stuff is in these decrees here. The mountains and mountains of decrees against any other decree going for one little bit. This is the whole deal, not just a fraction of it. There's more than one offence that Jacinda Ardern is committing with a whole tribe of criminal fraudsters. So there, we can go. Sheriffs may be committed to prison at once. Persons arrested by, we've said that, It's just going, writ, there's writs over there. The word writs, the sheriff's got writs. That's what we're writing, writs. Just, this what's this? This is when the government um, resigned in 2020 and then reappointed themselves the same day. There's some logic that'll be in the next court hearing about what happened there. How come they did that and not continuous as a government for us? They did it on their own. They didn't elect anything by the people, didn't choose that. So this is the sheriffs, this is Pennsylvania. This is getting more in our territory of how they apply law as self-government in Pennsylvania. So there, we take a leaf out of their book and go back to the Anglo-Saxon and King's bench called peace. King's peace, it says there. I wrote something down I wrote a whole lot of things down, but I think it would take too long about that, about this part here. So there, if you read through that, it'll give you an idea of what powers the sheriffs have, and they've been successful in Pennsylvania to use their authority. And so we use the same authority there as being today. Today, they're doing it today. So we apply something today, not somewhere else that's not proven fact of doing it in real. So there, that's a real live case situation of dressed up men in their uniforms. So I see the Home Guard will look at this and run over it for information. So last part of the hearing presentation is for Alfred. After I finish my bit, he will carry on and do some talk afterwards. And I want to limit it to the court hearing itself of what he has to bring. And then we can shut off the court hearing and discuss it afterwards so we can lock it on the record. So here, I'll just go on a little bit more. The President of the Legal Confederation of Chiefs. Just some more things. These are somebody's words that said these protocols are legal. This is something that I've picked up. SM was frenzy this morning. Guess this is notice. Oh, the person that wrote up about the government gazetted notice about what they did to change their skin out of a lizard skin into a snake skin and carry on operating like devils in disguise. So there we go on to Treason Act and a few more things that go Jacinda doing. So you got enough ammunition here in this to throw at her and her government to put them out of business. That's what we want here in this court, out of business. The corporation, the first corporation to go out of business by force of these laws. The law versus the law. So there. So that's a little bit more. I'll just finish off what I'm doing, then Alfred can go on to everything after that. I'll just try and get through. Oh, we're only on 64. 12 seals of my crown. I'll carry on. These are things I've listed. What you climb flag for. Those are some of the things I've written up about the use of the flag. This is up to Ngāpuhi chiefs that I'm there to represent those chiefs and the chiefs of Hauraki that went through all the trouble to contact the king to protect their corporate trading business on their ships. So that's what that is for. And we'll get through this in right to page 96, and then Alfred can have a say after that before we open it up. And here, all King William will go slow. You'll see. I've put these citations. I should stop by each one of the ones I've written. Execution of Judgments Acts, Postmaster General's Act. We're citing these in these decrees of against the government here. All these King William the Fourth Acts from 1830 to 1837. That's what I've said all along. We'll just keep on going and stop where the ones I've put sheriff or the court, where we got our authority. We're getting our authority to operate this court from here and not from the government here in this country. We're using British law against this government and their inferior law with no queen, monarch. There's no monarch to call you sovereign. And they're saying Parliament sovereign without a queen is stupid. So carry on going. Carry on going. Only where I've got more longer letters, longer writing after it. What's this? The Bills of Exchange Act, site legalised Maori pound note, Maori pound, carry on. Site for legalised, carry on going. What's this one? Crown Lands Act, that's all the Crown Land Act. We can go after all the Crown land, cite this Act. Magistrate, King's Court. This King's Court bench can go after the Crown land and seize the whole lot with that Act. This is what we're going. We're going straight to the bone. We're not mucking around with this government anymore. What's this one? Anymore. Insolvent Debtors Act, that's like different order. Site for debt recovery by Sheriff's Court order. The Sheriff's Court order in here, you got plenty of time to read all that lot. So there, we're using the authority here on this king, our flag, and our use of the law for our own sovereign good. If we can do it for us, we can do it for everyone in the world. So we just need to get one successful case done. Cook Street or not just enough doing. Keep going. All these other ones matter. What's this one? Sheriffs of Selkirkshire Act. We can use that Sheriff's Act, cite the Sheriff's Native King's Bench Court. You'll see the thread at the end of this where you can click it and go to these acts and check them out, where we get our authority to use these acts. Bank Notes Act. Cite this Act, Maori pound note, print over human debtor. Newmans as debtors. The Bank of England Act. Cite this Act, Maori Powerhouse Bank note use. This is all King William 1833. Carry on, keep going, go fast through. This one, Crown Lands Act, Criminal Law Act. We use the criminal law. Confederation of Chiefs apply King's Law. Carry on. I'm just saying these out aloud. Well, cite this Act, Sheriff's Court Recovery Orders, Fines and Recoveries Act. On all the people who put the £1 trillion on their head, go after them. We'll cash out one, then pay everybody on contract to go and chase them. Grand jury, we got a grand jury. We cite this note for the chief, the sheriffs, and the jury. We cite all these. Inheritance Act. This is all your inheritance to your trust. The birth certificate trust the Pope got, 100 million each. We cite this inheritance. That's your inheritance. We go after that as well in this court. Everything that belongs to you. We carry on going. Keep going. Only the long ones. Only the long. This one. Cite Act writ warrant. This is a writ. They're trying to get rid of, legislate the writs out and put possession instead of that. Proceedings Act. Cite writ warrant issued by this court. So there. These are the things they're pulling out. Criminal court, Central Criminal Court. That's another one. Carry on. What's this one? East India Company Act. That's a company act. We use that for our trust, the Moai King William Trust. We use that company act for that trust. And the company we have here, Ngātue Wāotea Limited, Fines and Recoveries Island Act. We use that. The sheriffs use that. They can go straight into that, read it up, and then apply. That's it. And this one, insolvent debtors, make them insolvent and foreclose on them, forfeiture to the court and the Crown, debt recovery proceeds. Juries, cite the juries and sheriff, that's sheriff's duty again. Carry on. So these are all our laws. Keep going. There, this one. Trust property, all the trust property. That means the Pope's trust, your birth certificate, and the Queen Victoria Trust, 1844. That's a trust property. We cite this to get it back. We get it back. Belongs to you, all you people, everybody in the world. Cite this act, take note, Maori Crown Lands. The Crown Lands, we put it into Maori Crown and King William Trust. Declarations Act, see, this is the act. We use this declaration, what we're doing against the government. The Declaration of Independence flag, we already got that. So we use our declaration of action here to go the government's declaration of inconsistencies amendment bill. Side X sheriff flag declaration. We make declarations. The sheriffs make declarations and read that lot so that they swear their oath to the people, the sovereign people of the world, and the kings, those 5 kings I just said. Execution of criminals, that's a real bad one. The Chester's Act, 1835, that's to kill criminals that kill people. These people that are murdering, all these people with injection, lethal injection, go get this one. This one, we can put this one straight on the head, get rid of them. They're no good scum on this earth. Imprisonment for debt. If they don't pay their debts, in the prison they go. Yeah, that takes care of that. Infants' property, those people, kids that are stolen. Here, cite this, sheriffs recover the children. Okay, insolvency. So, and on it goes. We're just about there. We're on 1835 now. Cite this, take note of sheriff's 8-point flag. Municipal corporations is that 8-point star of St. Patrick that they wear. The Queen, the whole royal family, and the Governor General here wears the 8-point star. That's money. That's the Commerce Municipal Act to pick up the rent, the rates, the taxes off the land. That's what that act is. King William IV and King William III. Here, removal of indictments into the King's Bench Act, 1835. Any indictments on anybody, you throw them into this court. And we cite this for the sheriffs to take action on any indictment you got against anybody, you throw them in this court. Anywhere. This court can operate anywhere. Once we get going, we can open courts up anywhere in the world. Sheriff's Island Act, 1835. There we go. King William. Cite this act, note sheriff's authority reference to law. There. So we use that authority. That's just one of many, many authorities that we have with that flag. Statutory Declaration Act. Cite this act, take notice, sheriff's New Zealand government, DOIA bill. Declaration of Inconsistencies Amendment Bill. That's what that means. I just put that so to fit it in. Cite this Act, Sheriff's 1820, Western Australian Government Act. King William went to Australia but didn't come here to go there. He went straight there with his 1835. So he has gone to Western Australia but not come to New Zealand and then gone there. So that's a different jurisdiction from the flag we have here. The flag is not there in Australia, so you can't use the flag for Australia. Here, those fellows that are using that flag to go to the government can't use this flag because they're going to Australia jurisdiction, and it contradicts or conflicts with our jurisdiction on this land here where the flag belongs. It doesn't belong in Australia or anywhere else, but it's used as partnership from here in Britain. It can be used in Britain because that's where it came from, not Australia. Okay, so we can carry on going. Administration of Justice, West Indies Act. We can follow the Justice Administration to set up the same as West Indies and for the sheriffs and the Confederation to follow. The Bastard Act, that's a real bastard, those people that are doing that and killing people to get rid of them. Klaus Schwab and his mob of dangerous people, dangerous thugs and pirates operating with admiralty law to make money, then use that money against you. Horrible, how horrible. Executions for Murder Act, 1836. Cite this, take notice, sheriff's JAB VX crimes. So there, anybody that's administering that lot of rubbish on people can get this one. Okay, just keep that in mind. This is lethal. We're lethal here in this court. Grand jury, cite this, take note, sheriffs. So grand jury, when our jury gets bigger, we've got a small jury of 8 at the moment. So that's enough to kick the ball rolling. Debtors Act, we've gone through the other one, Act, so cite, carry on going. Keep going. We're getting near the end now. Cite this, note sheriff's 8-point flag, Municipal Corporations Island Act, carry on. New South Wales Act. So again, in New South Wales, this is a sheriff's 1820 to 1837 flag for New Zealand and Britain only. Cite this act, take notice. I'm making a warning to anybody else using that flag. You could be going into dangerous pound note bounty area on your head. Cite this act, take notice, sheriffs. New Zealand government scam, Parliamentary Election Act scam. So there, we're citing them for that, being scam. They're real scamming there. Make that clear. See how far we get. Okay, carry on, God. Prince of Wales, Island Act. See, there's another one with Island Act. I'm going to read that one up again. Prince of Wales, Island Act. So they've got titles over land like the islands here. They've got title over those islands with that act. So here, just going along, Bank of Ireland Advances Act, Bankruptcy Ireland Act. So their Bankruptcy Act, bankrupt them. Take note, Sheriff's Motu Propria. Birth, Death and Marriages Registration Act, 1837, King William IV. We use this act on the birth certificates against the Pope to get all our wealth back from the money he's made on all the years of your birth certificate. They made money out of it many, many times over. Justice of the Peace, we've already got Justice of the Peace, and the act, we use this act for Manahi Mohini. He's our Justice of the Peace of this Confederation of Chiefs, and the sheriffs and everybody that's administering these documents and enforcing them, and yet about to use them. We're about to use them on thugs and pirates. So there, cite this Municipal Corporations Act, that's for England now. We've got England and Ireland Municipalities Act. So there, it's the same 8-point star that they wear to pick up the money of the land. That's a land trust, right? I can cite this act for sheriffs, New South Wales, Australia again. That's King dealing with Australia at his time of just before his death. Cite this offences against creditors. Yeah, the creditors, payment of creditors. So there, this one, Piracy Act. Here's the one for Cindy Cara, Governor General, and Jacinda Ardern. Piracy on the High Seas Act, 1837. King William IV. Cite this act. Take note. Sheriff's New Zealand Prime Minister Piracy Organisation. So they are criminal organisation. I'll make that quite clear on this video tonight. Cite this act. Note sheriffs. Robbery from the Person Act. So they're robbing you left, right, and centre, and making the taxes go high and all that sort of thing. And selling your mortgage your land, sell your land, selling everything that you own and don't care. So Sheriff Fees Act, the sheriffs have got fees under this King William IV Act. So we check on that to see how that works for the sheriffs to pay themselves, but we got higher salaries for them with a pound note. Cite this act. No, it's just the authority. We use these for their sheriff's authority to run the business. Superior Courts officers, cite this act. Take note, sheriffs, King's Bench. Superior Court. We are Superior Court. This is a Supreme Court. Emperor's Court. This is our Emperor's Court. Transfer Admiralty of Postal Contracts Act. Cite this act. Take note, sheriffs. So there. That's just about the end of it. So there. Cite this Wills Act. Cite this act. Sheriff Surrogate Court. We are surrogate court in the King's Bench Court. That's for wills and money left behind when somebody dies, and children and all that sort of thing. So there, that's that. That's going on to the Sheriffs of Ireland Act, 1835. We can skip through that. I had some writings to talk about it, but I think I've said enough. There's the warrant there and how they execute their work. And we get all this right. We make sure we get things right by the T before we go into action on Cook Street and Jacinda Ardern. We make sure they know what they're doing, and the British know we know what we're doing. That's the main thing with this court hearing, and to make sure certain the people we choose to represent the Confederation know what they're doing. And it's for the people, not for me, John Wanoa. It's for the people here and first and foremost to get New Zealand's backyard right first before getting anybody else's backyard first and right from the start. This is where everything started from New Zealand. They bankrupted America from New Zealand, from Mount Eden Hill. That monument up there is a plaque on it. It's got the date on it, 1933, when they bankrupted America, was done right here in New Zealand. And I've got evidence, a video of that, to clamp that on the government, how they bankrupted everybody with the Admiralty law. And we're making bankrupt them the same way with the Moai memorial right on top of their head. That's God's law. All right, keep it on going. That's the end now. That's the end of it, Andrew. So I've done my part of this court hearing. Now, what I'm going to do is pass it over to Alfred to say something, and then we can open the floor up to everybody else. But I want to close the actual court recording for the record on what we've said, what Alfred says, and what I say. Then we can open it up to the floor and talk about it. I can always go back into the court and bring other matters into it, but then we're making law and we want to make the law work for us. That's it. Put the law down, then go for it. Okay, Alfred.
Yeah, kia ora everyone. Now, what I'm working on right now is that not sure if you're all aware of what's happening with the Ministry of Health in this country, with the district health boards, and they're probably watching John Wanoa why they decided that they've the Ministry of Health, that's Andrew Little, is now done some radical changes, and people are starting to question why. And he's instead of it being the New Zealand Health, this is the report. This is what's happening here, and I've already started it. Is the memorandum of understanding, and it's between the Waikato. They're starting it. Wonder why they're doing it with the Waikato District Health Board and not the rest of the country. So they according to the report of Andrew Little, he's got here. I'm just trying to flip through these pages. He's got here alongside. They're creating this. What do you call it? They call it a double waka. And see, because it's got here. This is from Andrew Little himself, and this was from March. Okay, and it's got here alongside the Health New Zealand will be another entity, the Māori Health Authority. Now, I think what they're trying to do is go in partnership with the Māori Health Authority, but we all know that it's still another statutory corporation. You know, it's still part of them, and they're thinking that, oh, well, we'll say we're partnership with the Māori, and then they can say that, but we're getting the guidance, and they're getting the guidance from a Māori authority. Well, it's only it's basically their own authority. They're really talking to themselves. You know, they decide, oh well, to save face against these charges that our King's Court bench are going against this Queen's Court bench, that they'll put up a Māori entity and say, well, it's not our fault that the small entity have given in the mandate, but they created this entity. And the thing is this, that, because this is all about the COVID issue. See, he's got here the district health boards across the country has wound up, and the thing is, okay, now why isn't there memorandum of understanding with all the other districts around the country? They've only just focused on one health board, the Waikato District Health Board, and that is the district that the King's Court bench had started from Waikato here, from Tita Waikato. So we know that due to this, I'm actually working on a memorandum of understanding, and tomorrow I'm putting an injunction will be placed on them on this. An injunction will be placed on this, and probably about in a week, or probably less than a week, I'll complete the memorandum of understanding, and challenging who are the true territorial authority of Waikato, and the reason why I'm doing this is this, because its injunction will be placed tomorrow, and there's word that they're going to bring martial law in the beginning of next month. Well, the thing is that it has to go through the all the vaccinations have to go through the approval of the local Waikato District Health Board, and because right now they assume they've already signed off with all the local tribes, and here's the local tribes here, and what I'm doing is that, what I'm doing from tomorrow is that there's these are the partners in with the in New Zealand Health, with the Ministry of Health, is the in with the Waikato District Health Board. There'd be the Hauraki Māori Trust Board, Tūwhare Toa Māori Trust Board, Raukawa Charitable Trust, Maniputo Māori Trust Board, the Te Runanga o Kikiriroa, that's the Urban Māori Authority, Waikato Tainui Te Whaka Kitinga o Waikato Incorporation, Ngā Tangata Tiaki o Whanganui Trust, Kaumata Kaunihira representatives. Okay, so there's basically here 9 different entities that are basically going to be controlling the health system in the country. But when they invoke the martial law, the thing is that they assume this is all sealed because they are dealing with all these statutory corporations created by the very government themselves. So basically, they're talking to entities that they claim they have a treaty settlement with, and we know that that they cannot claim themselves as the right legal personalities, and so that's why I put up that to challenge that none of these bodies are actually the territorial authority of the whole Waikato Hauraki region and all this and all that. And it's a very it's a large, it's actually the largest district health board in the country. And so for them to think that next month they can just go along and force entries into homes and all this and all that, when there's an injunction in place, basically they have to answer that injunction, and so that's the reason we worked on that. And because the thing is that none of these tribes can claim that they're actually tangata whenua of this country. None of these tribes can claim that they're mana whenua of this country, because there were First Nations people, there were previous tribes here before these assumed Johnny come lately canoes that came over here with claiming that the Maori race. Well, our people, the First Nations people, are not the Maori race. So it's actually the Maori people are referred to those who came over on those canoes from over there. But now we're talking about we don't accept the fact that our people actually migrated into this country, and that's where we come from, the First Nations people. So all the myths and all that were all created by the government, all created by the New South Wales government to propagate the narrative that this country here was basically, they're trying to say that the Maori nation, the Maori people came along and colonized people here. Yeah, that is true, and that's, and where we're coming from is the First Nations people, and having to do that is that the King's Court bench was sealed with the First Nations people, and this is where John's coming from. When we're talking about the 1823 memorial title of this country at Ngāti Kahupungapunga Rock, that is the memorial title, and the Kahupungapunga people were here before all those other Waka people immigrated into this country. So this is why it's so timely that they must be watching and deliberately putting this this country into martial law. They'll probably do it next week, I am told. But the thing is that that's the reason why I put the spoke in the wheel, and I'm putting the injunction in tomorrow. I'm emailing the parties. See, because according to the research, there was a Ngāti Hotu and Kahupungapunga. They were the ones that were invaded by Ngāti Raukawa, and I can see the very reason why Tira Waikato went over to England to study the titles and all this and all that, and to ensure that he made a deal with King William IV in 1823, and he sealed that deal with King George IV. Sorry, King George IV in 1823, and now due to that fact, that nullifies the that makes the 1840 treaty null and void ab initio, because the contract was already done. All these treaty settlements was already done in 1823. The set. So this is the importance of this King's Court bench hearing, is that I do know that the New South Wales, basically it's the City of London, had been infiltrating with as well as New South Wales government in the 18th century, even the 17th century, and due to the fact after the 34 chiefs had signed the 28th of October 1835 written constitution, He Whakaputanga, the previous year, the 20th of March 1834, that's when they were granted the officially granted under 21 gun salute this King's Court bench flag, and it was the first time in British Admiralty history that they took the mast off the HMS Alligator at Akuhata at Kororareka, which is they call Russell, and they anchored into the soil, and that was due to the fact that because of the land sale because of the mortgage memorial mortgage with the Paramount Chief Tita Waikato and King George the Fourth, and so basically this government doesn't have a title, doesn't have a clear title, as John has said 1,000 times, and due to that fact, everything that this New Zealand government are doing and trying to get settlements with different tribes and all this and all that, and the tribes they don't really know what's going on. They can't comprehend what's going on, and yet they're signing things blindly. But the thing is, a lot of those tribes who actually sign off, they actually have absolute no right whatsoever, because they're not actually the First Nations people tribes. They're just a bunch of Johnny come latelys that have come over here just in the last probably 700 years, and now they came along and they wiped out a lot of the local tribes, and now they're trying to claim tangata whenua status, which is the people of land. Well, they're going to have to refute the memorandum of understanding that I've been putting together. I've spent the last week putting this together. It's and it should be completed in about a week. So, but for the interim, the injunction is there. So there's no rush to complete the memorandum of understanding with the Waikato District Health Board, because what it will be doing, it will be challenging the the statutory, because they only have statutory entities. They only have statutory authority, which is not tantamount to having territorial authority. So what I've done in it is I've actually claimed that none of them, including the New Zealand government, none of them are the right legal personality. So yeah, it comes down to who's the right legal personality to even invoke the martial law onto this land, because like I've said in the past, that the Minister of Health, Andrew Little, was also the Minister of he was also the Minister of was he the Minister of, no, not the police, he was but he held actually most of the highest portfolio positions. But at the time when I wrote to him in 2019, I demanded from him the evidence of the International Maritime Contract, and he hasn't answered. So I mentioned that in the memorandum, that he hasn't answered his, the 3 notices that I've sent to him, because in order to invoke any legislations on the land against the people, there has to be an international maritime contract in place between a foreign power and the people of the land. Now, the New Zealand the company down there in Wellington, they're operating out of Washington DC, so they are a foreign power, you know, and for them to actually invoke any statutes on the land, that's why I questioned Andrew Little in 2019, and I did that before this November Wuhan outbreak. I did it straight after the 15th of March 2019 Christchurch shooting, because I knew what was happening. I knew because in 1938, when this was just after the stock market crash in 1929 to 1833, that you know, they went from public law over to public acts or public policies. So when you see statutes that's got public act, it's public policy. It's not public law anymore. And this the secret meeting between the highest judges in America in 1938, that they were told that they were to reveal to anyone that the country was now operating under martial admiralty law. That all statutes is martial admiralty law. There was no longer any common law. That's why you see since 1933 there's no common law courts. So therefore, when people enter into their courts and all this and all that, they a lot of our people they end up going to trials. Well, you can't do that, you know. I mean, the thing is, I mean, under statutory jurisdiction, you basically they've actually they've shifted the burden because under common law jurisdiction, the burden is always on the claimant to prove. It's always the burden's on the claimant. However, under statutory jurisdiction, the burden is always on the accused. Well, it's not the accused because they haven't charged the accused. But it's always on the burden is always on the defendant to prove the innocence. See, rather, in other words, the prosecutors, New Zealand, prosecutors around the world, they can charge people, but when our people think, well, the burden of proof lies on the prosecution. No, not under Admiralty, not under statutory jurisdiction, not under Admiralty maritime jurisdiction. The burden lies on the defendant, because the defendant is always guilty, regardless. It doesn't, because the defendant is a corpus juris. It is a set of K by trust that they've charged. So by deception, people assume that they've charged the living man. Well, they can't charge the living man, because they're operating on statutory jurisdiction. That's why I say that statutes do not apply to people. So the way they've set the system up is that, well, when you go to court and you talk, then they say, well, you must be a defendant because you spoke and all this and all that. See, they've actually deliberately set up these traps for the people. But in that 1938, those the highest judges in America were told they were never ever to reveal, even to any lower judges, that that the statutes is just another hidden word for Admiralty maritime jurisdiction. In other words, it's administrative, not judicial. It's not judicial process. There's no real legal determinations. There's all administrative procedural processes. It's like and this and that. So you have to know how to break the code in their system, and that's quite simple, because as soon as, and what I do when I go into courts is the court clerk reads out the charges and says, hey, how do you plead? And I say, well, and I certainly tell them because that your first hearing is status hearing. You have to determine your true status, and if you fail and you end up in trial, in a trial, well, you're gone. Anyone that's in a court, in the trial itself, they've actually lost. The thing is, and so what I say to the court clerk when they read out the name, I said, well, I tell them that one is here by special appearance. And the accused sui juris litigant agent for the corpus juris defendant. That's what I say. And I say to them, well, how do the charges apply to me? I'm not the trust type person anymore. Straight away, you've got them. Because what I've done is I've defended the matter under the jurisdiction I had been charged under the statute jurisdiction. So I just say to them, well, how does this charge apply to me, the accused sui juris litigant? I am not the trust type person, am I? They have to throw it out. And it's important to know that, because that's why so many people get sucked in and end up in the jails and all this and all that. So, but even if I ended up in some judge doesn't really comprehend his job, you know. Well, that is why the reason why I was the fact that Andrew Little didn't answer that there was an international maritime contract in place. Well, it just shows there's no contract in place. Now, if the government can't prove there's international maritime contract in place, well then all statutes in that country are all illegal, because there has to be an international maritime contract, and they can only charge you under statutory jurisdiction if you breach that contract. There has to be a breach. Well, how can you be in breach of something if you didn't know it existed? You know, how can you be in violation of something that doesn't even exist? And so yeah, this is what I'm saying. The contract factor is very key, and the contract factor here with the 1823 private contract is the key. Not just saving this country, but the whole world, bringing the whole house of cards down. You know, it'll be, and the house of cards, or the Queen's Court bench of the city of London, the Vatican, Washington DC, and the United Nations. So that's enough. I have to cover.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions, yeah.
Thank you, Alfred. Andy, I think we'll close it off now, and then we'll open up for discussion with everybody.
Okay then.
Just lock the court hearing on the minutes and the recording, so that it doesn't get changed too much from what it is now. We're on a serious mission here,
And then we
and we can talk about anything afterwards about it, or to what has been there on those documents. Any questions? Okay, Andy.
Okay then. Okay then. So the time now is 10:59 in Greece. So it's 8 o'clock. I take it. 8 o'clock in New Zealand PM, and that's Saturday, 30th of July. So I'll end the meeting now.